in the Antya Lila, chapter 3. And so we heard about how Haridas Thakur, his spiritual influence was so great that he was able to, change the heart of a prostitute. And then we left off with this comment that Ramchandra Khan, who had organized this plot of defamation, he had this incident because he orchestrated it, had created a seed of offense. And so now we'll pick up from there. Mahadaparadir fall adhuta katan pashtava paya kohi shuno bhaktagam. This offense at the lotus feet of an exalted devotee has resulted in a wonderful narration. Taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by these incidents, I shall explain what happened. O devotees, please listen. Sahajeya Vaishnav Ramchandra Khan Adidasar Aparade Hoilo Asur Saman. Ramchandra Khan was naturally a non-devotee. Now, having offended the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, he became just like a demoniac atheist. Vaishnav Dharma Ninda Kode Vaishnav Apaman Bahudine Apadade Pailo Padinam. Because of blaspheming the cult of Vaishnavism and insulting the devotees for a long time, he now received the results of his offensive activities. Nityananda Gosai Gore Jabe Haila Prema Prachadite Tobe Brahmite Lagila. When Lord Nityananda returned to Bengal to preach the cult of Bhakti, love of Godhead, he began touring all over the country. Prem Prachadanar Pashanda Dalan Duikar Je Avadut Koden Brahman. For two purposes: to spread the cult of Bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheists, Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country. This is a very nice verse, and we hear that quoted. Maybe it's included in the Nityananda Mahimamrita. Prem Prachadan Ar Pashanda Dalan. And you can't really translate it properly in English. But for these two things, Prem Prachadan, to spread prema, and Pashanda Dalan, to destroy those who are inimical to prema. Dui Karje Avadut Koden Brahman. For these two reasons, the Avadut, he moved, These were his two purposes. Sarvagya Nityananda Elatar Gode Asya Bosila Durga Manda Pupade. Lord Nityananda, who is omniscient, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to the house of Ramachandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandap. I'm sorry, I've somehow become a little allergic to these marigolds. They start stinging my face. Yeah, from the garden they're strong, they're fresh. Yeah.
Only the marigolds?
Yeah, only the marigolds, yeah. I noticed it first at Villa Govinda. They have very fragrant ones. I don't know if you remember. Because they're fresh, from the garden.
They're strong.
Yeah. Nityananda Prabhu is wandering around for these two purposes. Now he's come to the home of Ramchandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandap, which is some type of temple for Durga Devi. Purport: well-to-do Hindu gentlemen constructed their houses with a place called the Durga Mandap for the worship of the goddess Durga. There they generally held worship of the goddess every year in the month of Ashvin, September, October, Ramchandra Khan possessed such a Durga Mandap at his residence. So that also tells us he was some kind of a Hindu, worshipping Durga Devi. But, obviously only for material purposes. Anek lokjan sange. So Nityananda, this is quite provocative actually. Saying he sat literally on the altar. Yeah, Durga Mandap Upade. So like on the altar, the head part.
He was going to sit on the altar of where the Durga Puja was going to.
Well, I don't know if there was actually a deity there. Maybe it was, because they also do that, what do they call it? I don't remember the name, but they construct some temporary deity and then they dismiss her into the Ganga. So I don't know, maybe it was empty, but anyhow, it's provocative, he's going and sitting on the altar.
Onek lokchan sange angyan bodilo, bitar hoite Ramchandra sevak patailo.
When the Durga Mandap and courtyard became filled with crowds of men, Ramchandra Khan, who was inside the house, sent his servant to Lord Nityananda. So Nityananda has some, large entourage and is no doubt attracting, followers along the way. Now Ramchandra is annoyed.
Sevak bole gosai more patailo kan, vihastere gore tomai divovasastam.
The servant informs Lord Nityananda, "My dear sir, Ramchandra Khan has sent me to accommodate you in some common man's house."
Goyalar goshala hoy atyanta vishtar, iha sankirna stal tomar manushya apar.
You might go to the house of a milkman, for the cowshed is spacious. Whereas the space here in the Durga Mandap is insufficient because you have many followers with you. So he's, politely saying, get out of here.
Vitore achila shuni krode bahirila, atata hasi gosai kohite lagila.
When Nityananda Prabhu heard this order from the servant of Ramchandra Khan, he became very angry and came out. Laughing very loudly, he spoke as follows.
Satya kohe gur mor jog janoi, mlecha go vada kode tar jog jahoi.
Ramchandra Khan has spoken rightly. This place is unfit for me. It is fit for cow-killing meat-eaters.
Etaboli krode gosai utia cholila, tare danda ditase gramena rohila.
Having said this, Lord Nityananda stood up and left in an angry mood. To chastise Ramchandra Khan, he did not even stay in that village.
Iha Ramchandra Khan seva ke agya dilo, gosai jaha bosilatar mati korailo.
Ramchandra Khan ordered the servant to dig up the dirt. Oh my goodness. He ordered this servant to dig up the dirt in a place where Nityananda Prabhu had sat. He's so offensive. He's thinking where Nityananda Prabhu sat, that's become impure. So he wants to remove that earth. My goodness.
Gomai jolele pila so mandir prangan, taburam chandrama nahoilo padasan.
To purify the Durga Mandap temple and the courtyard, Ramchandra Khan sprinkled and smeared it with water mixed with cow dung, but still his mind was unsatisfied.
Dasi ritti kore Ramchandra rajare na deya koro, hridahoyam lecha ujir ailo tar gor.
Ramchandra Khan's business was questionable, for he tried to avoid paying income tax to the government. Therefore, the government's Minister of Finance was angry and came to his residence.
Asise Durga Mandape Basa Koilo Avadyavada Kodimamsa Segode Randailo.
The Muslim minister made his residence in the Durga Mandap of Ramchandra Khan. He killed a cow and cooked the meat at that very place. So, this was Nityananda Prabhu's curse. He's a Ramchandra Khan. He's like a smarta, we can say. He's externally following the, religious practices without really understanding their essence and for some material result. And so, the Supreme Lord himself comes and sits in his courtyard and he thinks that's impure. And, perhaps Nityananda Prabhu is looking a little eccentric, as he does from time to time. But anyhow, he thinks that this is an impure place, where Nityananda had sat. So, what to speak of this, that the Muslim ruler comes and he kills a cow there in that very spot, which was the curse of Nityananda Prabhu. You cannot recognize what is real purity, then this is his correctionary measure.
Sri Putra Sahit Ramachandra Bandiya Tagore Gram Lute Tindin Rohiya.
He arrested Ramchandra Khan along with his wife and sons, and then he continuously plundered the house and village for 3 days.
Se Gore Tindin Kore Amedya Randan Adodin Sabaloya Kodila Gaman.
In that very room, he cooked the flesh of a cow for 3 consecutive days. Then the next day he left, accompanied by his followers.
Jatidanjan Kane Sakala Loilo Bahudin Parjantagram Ujada Rohilo.
The Muslim minister took away Ramchandra's position, wealth, and followers. For many days the village remained deserted.
Mahanter apaman je desh grame hoy ek janar doshe sob desh ujadoy.
Wherever an advanced devotee is insulted, for one man's fault the entire town or place is afflicted.
Haridas Thakur Choli Aila Chandapure Asya Rohila Balaram Acharya Gore.
Just as we hear that, through kirtan or through harikatha, a place becomes purified, then also the opposite is true, that where there is ninda, where there is criticism of a Vaishnava, then that place becomes contaminated. And so we hear that Srila Saraswati Thakur, that instance when he was in Vrindavan, and that very foolish, really just foolish, Brahmin, he announced that, we can bless Raghunath Das Goswami, our position is so great, Then Srila Saraswati Thakur, he started to fast, right? Until some type of, apology came. And everything, was sorted out. But then later somebody asked Srila Saraswati Thakur, why did you even care, what he said? Who should care? And Srila Saraswati Thakur said, if I was just an ordinary, simple Babaji, living alone and following my spiritual practices, then I would just leave this place, he said like that. I would just leave, But because I'm in this position, then I'm holding this position of an acharya. It's my duty to defend the dignity of my gurus. But so anyhow, he makes that point that if I wasn't in this position, I would just leave the area so that to be away from even the vibration of such a thing. It is so contaminating. Okay.
It's actually interesting that it's on a material level that everything, the energy of the persons, it spreads out. Like we see in an area where we collect, and in certain pubs, it's like the mood of the owner that is reflected in all the people who are there. So if the owner has, the nice and kind disposition, then you see that also somehow reflected in the customers. I mean, it's a mundane comparison, but like, everything is an energy that is
exactly,
everywhere, even on a material plane.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That's why we have to be so careful about what company we keep and what we will hear, because it's also, we're also told just to hear offense, that is also an offense, to remain passive and to hear, such negative. We become responsible if we are allowing ourselves to, remain in that. We become implicated, So we have to be careful about that. Who we hear from, what we hear, and that. Okay, so now Haridas Thakur, we're going back to Haridas Thakur. He's left the village of Ramchandra Khan and he's come to Chandapur. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandapur. There he stayed at the house of Balaram Acharya. Hiranya Govardhan Dui Muluker Majumdar Tar Purohito Balaram Nam Tar. Hiranya and Govardhan were the two governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Anyone remember who Hiranya and Govardhan are? Who are they related to? Ramanand, do you remember? Hiranya and Govardhan, yeah. They are the father and uncle of one of the 6 Goswamis. Okay, no problem. Raghunath Das Goswami. Yeah. They were. It's not mentioned right here. But yeah, and so because of the, they weren't exactly Vaishnavas, but they were very pious, and they used their money to do a lot of good and to support Vaishnavas, and so because of that, Raghunath Das Goswami from a very early age he met these great personalities, they supported persons like Haridas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, and it's mentioned in one place like practically all the Brahmins in Nadia district or something like that. They supported, or those who worthy persons in need. Okay, so I'm going to.
In which place was Raghunath Das Goswami born?
It is. I always forget. Is it Saptagram? No, that's Kaviraj. Ch.Ch. I can't remember, but it's not. It's not far from. I mean, it's in the Bengal area. It's not far from Navadvip, Calcutta. I think it might be like in between Calcutta and Navadvip or something like that. Srila Acharya Maharaj has been there. He took a group there. I think Tyagi Maharaj went and others. But yeah, not far.
Oh, the devotees go there to worship. There is a temple.
I know Srila Charji Maharaj went there a few times. I don't know if it is like so traditional, I'm not sure. I think maybe he had some group of devotees there he was going to visit. And they went also to, there's a temple there, which is dedicated to Raghunath Das Goswami. Maybe I think it's meant to mark like the place of his family home, his birth, like that. There's a courtyard there. I can't remember the name.
That's a good example that the Grihastras, those who work, they're meant to maintain the temple. And those who are serving.
Yes.
So that the temple service can keep going.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I mean that is the culture in the Vedic system, absolutely. No.
I think Swami Maharaj mentioned that also, like 50% or something of income of the grihastas has to go to the temple.
Because not everyone is to live in a temple, and the temple service is quite demanding. So those who can be in the temple, they can do that service, maintain it nicely. And not only the puja, the cooking, the preaching, all the bills, the maintenance of the temple, and they can do that service nicely, those who can be living in the temple. And then those who can't and live outside, they work, and they have their life, and they also do their spiritual life, and they come to the temple, and then they also benefit from being here and everything. So it's like a nice kind of...
Sure, I mean that was the system, certainly. And Indians know that. Yeah. Indians know that.
I think modern life is adding more than a bill for the car and a bill for the internet and a bill, like more and more things getting so that you think you need or your children need, and it's adding because the economy is like situated like that to squeeze more money out of people, and the people think they are more comfortable with that sort of buying all these things that they're pushing through to entangle.
But some percentage of priority should be also that temple.
They have is it the Mormons? They had this tithing system, right?
The Mormons?
They give some particular percentage.
Actually, it's 50%.
50% Swami Maharaj said. Actually, it's very normal. It's very normal if you think about it.
But I mean, Hiranya and Govardhan, they were extremely wealthy. I mean, like by today's standards, they were billionaires, So that's another thing, according to one's capacity, Not everybody has the capacity.
Yeah, of course. I'm not talking about according to your ability. But it's a good start.
Something,
contribution, then it actually adds up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's nice if even if it's just like a few pounds, everyone makes a commitment to.
Gurudev emphasized that also.
Mm-hmm.
Can give every month something, it adds up, and then
it covers.
It becomes normal. Because Gurudev was like the hand to give,
Mm-hmm.
We have to, that's it. We are here to give.
Okay. So Hiranya and Govardhan were the two governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Their priest was named Balaram Acharya.
Haridaser kripa patra tate bhakti mane Jatna kodi takode de rakila se grame.
Balaram Acharya, being favored by Haridas Thakur, was very much attached to him. Therefore he kept Haridas Thakur in the village with great care and attention.
Nirjan parna shalai koden kirtan Balaram Acharya grihe bhiksha nirvahan.
In the village, Haridas Thakur was given a solitary thatched cottage where he performs the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He accepted prasadam at the house of Balaram Acharya.
Raghunath Das Bala koden adjayan Haridas Thakur de jai koden darshan.
Raghunath Das, who is the son of Govardhan Majumdar and was later to become Raghunath Das Goswami, was at that time a boy engaged in study. He came to see Haridas Thakur daily.
Haridas kripa kode tahar upade Se kripa karan hoilo chaitanya paibade.
Naturally, Haridas Thakur was merciful toward him, and because of the merciful benediction of this Vaishnav, he later attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. So by special mercy of Haridas Thakur, then Raghunath Das Goswami later went on to receive the mercy of Mahaprabhu.
Taha Ch.Ch hoilo Haridaser mahima katan Vyakhyan adbhut kata shuno bhaktagam.
At the residence of Hiranya and Govardhan, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. O devotees, please listen to that wonderful story.
Ekadin balada minati kodiya Majummat tader sabayaila taka de loila.
One day, Balaram Acharya requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Majumdars, the family of Haridas, Hiranya and Govardhan. Thus Balaram Acharya went there with Haridas Thakur.
Thakur deki dui bai koilo abhyutan pai podi asandila kodiya saman.
Seeing Haridas Thakur, the two brothers immediately stood up and fell at his lotus feet. Then with great respect, they offered him a place to sit. And this is quite impressive because remember, Haridas Thakur, he's Muslim. I mean, coming from a Muslim family. And of course in that culture, they would be, by a respectable Hindu person, they would be, not given much honor. But they're able to see past that and to see, this is a real Vaishnava. So that's really quite impressive. I mean, you can understand if they're giving honor and support to persons like Advaita Acharya, who had, Advaita Acharya had such a high position within society. He was a high-class Brahmin and so on and so forth. But Haridas Thakur, he doesn't have, like a lineage and not even a Hindu, but they can recognize, his Vaishnavata, and they're falling at his feet. I mean, they really have some real piety.
But he was already an older Vaishnava, right? Haridas Thakur, because before Mahaprabhu came, he was already chanting the holy name.
This is before Mahaprabhu. Now, this is his early years. He appeared in East Bengal, and then he left home very young and began his travels. And we heard the pastime with Ramchandra Khan and the prostitute, and now he's continuing on his travels, and now he's come here. But he is a young man at this time. Yeah. I mean, you compare this to when which we're probably coming to, when he's in another place, and and the general populace of that area, they all become upset with him, both the Hindus and the Muslims, because he's chanting Krishna Nam, right? So the Muslims don't like that he's like gone over to Hinduism, and the Hindus don't like that he's, like he's following their thing, So they're seeing him in an external way.
How they manage to distinguish that he was a Muslim?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe by the...
If you cut your hair and shave off the beard, how would you say?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question.
That's what I thought. He's so long, he's already a Vaishnava and distributing the holy name and everything about him is high Vaishnava. Why they always
I don't know.
About that he is a Muslim.
Yeah, I don't know.
Background.
I don't know. That's a question for somebody.
What is the title of his chapter?
It's The Glories of Srila Haridas Thakur.
Yeah.
Antya Leela, chapter 3.
Anek Pandit Sabai Brahman Sajan Dui Bhai Mahapandit Hiranya Govardhan.
In that assembly were many learned scholars, Brahmins, and respectable gentlemen. The two brothers, Hiranya and Govardhan, were also greatly learned. It could just be because he was becoming a little famous, so people, like that incident with the prostitute, that made him famous, at least in that area. So it may be just because of, news spreading, by word of mouth. So everyone knew what his background was and like that. And also Haridas Thakur, he was quite open and he would, like we see repeatedly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that he's saying, I'm not fit to mix with all of you, right? And he'll keep himself at a distance, And when he goes to Puri, then, first he tells Mahaprabhu, what am I going to do? Orissa is a Hindu state, and I'm Muslim, so how will I be able to come and see you, right? And Mahaprabhu tells him, don't worry, I'll make some separate residence for you that's a little out of the way, so you can. So, Haridas, he follows these, customs, and he's quite open about, his background. So I think that's a part of it as well. He like when Advaita Acharya holds a Shraddha ceremony for his ancestors, he has all these respectable Brahmins about him, and Haridas, he's been invited, but he's staying very far away from the others, and Advaita Acharya, he wants to give the plate of honor to Haridas, so he walks past all these Brahmins and goes out to where Haridas is seated, and Haridas is you can't give that to me, you're gonna, this won't be proper, and this will dishonor the Brahmins, and then Advaita Acharya tells him, by you accepting this, so many thousands of Brahmins will be fulfilled, something like that. So Haridas is quite conscious and, vocal about his background. Okay. So there were many, this is some grand assembly, there's many scholars and Brahmins, respectable persons. And it says that Hiranya and Govardhan were greatly learned. It's interesting, because they really had appreciation for real Vaishnavata, and they were very learned, we can understand in a spiritual sense, they were learned, they had some spiritual understanding, spiritual knowledge. But at the same time, they didn't want Raghunath Das Goswami to give up the family business and go join the temple. They're referred to in one place as Vaishnava pride. And so you see, Mahaprabhu, he had some, because he like, when Raghunath Das Goswami first goes to, when he first joins Mahaprabhu, then one thing Mahaprabhu tells him is, he speaks in a very insulting way about his father and his uncle, Hiranya and Govardhan. And he says something about them living in this stool ditch of material enjoyment or something like that, very heavy. And then Mahaprabhu says, but I can talk about them like that because they're like my family members, like there's some, there's some intimacy there, he's has some teasing mood, he has great affection for them, but he's also recognizing, they're not ready to fully, become Vaishnavas, go the whole way, they're maintaining their life.
It's actually funny, huh? Why would, their auspicious behavior will lead them eventually.
Right.
to-
Right.
And the association
Yes.
would make them leave. And
Yes.
give progress.
Yes. Yeah.
In their spiritual life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Krishna won't let anybody get away. Let's see. Well, maybe it's a good place to stop. I think it's a good place to stop, and then we'll hear this well-known incident. Jai Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai.
Yeah.
Want to sing?
Devidasi, want to sing?